What I've taken from personally being on the board with both Sara and Marianne is a seriousness of purpose. They treat this organization like it's very important to them, and it's very important to the city, and I think they're right. It's important to their values. They treat it like a job. They show up for it, they pay attention to detail, and they both think big. They both pay attention to what's going on in the world around them.
I think both Marianne and Sara believe in Women's Center and Shelter. And when you believe in the mission and a vision of an organization, that brings out your leadership qualities because you truly believe in what we're doing here.
Relationship building has been terrific since I've been here, not just with fellow board members, but with the children and the residents, the employees, really all of the donors. We've gotten to know so many people who have been so generous to the Women's Center and Shelter personally and as groups.
I was raised with the expectation that I would be someone who gives back to the community, and Women's Center offered me the wonderful opportunity to do that. And of course, in giving back and providing service, I got so much more than I gave by meeting wonderful people and by feeling that I'm part of a movement that is changing the world for the better.
What I admire most about Sara is that she's been able to do it all. She has a wonderful career, a happy family, and she uses her free time, which I don't know how she has any free time, to influence good in the community. So we think of influencers a lot in a social media capacity. She is the original influencer, boots on the ground in the community, making change.
I worked with Marianne at Highmark. She was my director, and she was a great leader. And she's also a servant leader, where she doesn't mind getting her hands dirty, but she also wants to show you the trick of the trade so that you can do the job better. I think it's important to be a servant leader by demonstrating to others that they're not above the board with anything, and that they're not going to ask you to do something that they would not do.
I think I've enjoyed most working with other board members, getting to know them. They've all been supportive of me when I was chair, and also we've done some fun things, like we started having an annual barbecue, back to school barbecue for kids and the families who are here.
Not only the big things that they've both done, but the small things, the cookouts that we have for the residents here. It may not be raising money, but it shows their determination on letting the residents here know that we care about them, and the board know because the board's involved. And just being able to work with two people who I admire as a woman.
Walking into the new shelter for the first time after the construction was complete was an incredibly emotional moment for me, and I know for many others. To see that our dream of providing a physical space that would allow people to heal in dignity and with love surrounding them, which if you're ever in our building, that's what you see. It was a wonderful thing, and probably one of the accomplishments I'm most proud of in my life.
Sara's focus on the work of Women's Center and Shelter it's embodied in the renovations that the shelter has undergone. It's made it safer, it's made it more welcoming, it's made it a place that individuals want to seek services and feel valued as they re-enter the community.
When you walk up the steps and you look at the wall out there, that's their legacy. I can't think of anything more outstanding than what they've done to bring us to the future.
Sara's voice, as long as I've known her, has always cared about elevating women in the city of Pittsburgh. And both lawyers, professionals, also the women that are served at Women's Center and Shelter, and the staff at Women's Center and Shelter have always mattered to Sara to support women of Pittsburgh. If you know Sara, you know that to be true. Marianne also represents equity in that she's passionate to make sure that Women's Center and Shelter is always critically looking at the clients that we serve, the board and who's on our board, and the staff, and to make sure we're critically thinking about diversity and all those dimensions.
I admire so much about Mary Ann. The main thing I really admire is that she is very honest and very transparent. And in the role working as my director at Highmark, I realized that long before we start talking about D&I and all these wonderful things about diversity, Mary Ann was already discussing those things with me, making sure that organizations that we funded all had an equal opportunity to get the funding from Highmark.
I think that my legacy of advocating for diversity, I think my legacy of being able to talk to people about the high value of their donations, the worth of their donations to this solid organization. Not every organization can say that when they are fundraising, and I think that that is something that I find that has been a rewarding part of my legacy.
When I think about the connections that I've made in my career, but through Women's Center in particular, I always honestly think of my mom, and that I think she's somewhere proud of me, because she was the one who instilled a value in me that said women must take care of women. I can hear her saying that to me now, and that is something I'm happy that I was able to live up to my mom's words.